Hey guys, I've got this new t-shirt, so I'm going to use that for the next videos. I've made this short video on LLM ops. You must have heard of MLOps if you're a data engineer or machine learning engineer or even data scientist. Here we have the concept of LLM ops, meaning that we're putting LLMs into operation, or we're basically building the production-ready large language models. Hopefully you guys be able to learn something new from it. I haven't gone into the technology side, and that was on purpose. Because what I wanted to do is to make sure that you guys understand the concept and how it's done properly. Okay, let's get into it.
All right. Let's first discuss what is operationalization and why setting up the right operating model is crucial for any organization. I would probably start with the definition of operationalization. So, this word refers to the process of deploying and managing machine learning models, or sometimes large language models, in production environments. So, what it means is we need to take set up steps to make sure that the models are not only deployed, but also monitored and maintained carefully. So here we are continuously improving the results to meet business objectives and performance requirements. If you see this slide, you see the operationalization need both IT and business perspective to make sure not only that we are aligned with organizational goals, but also we are trying to enhance efficiency and optimize costs. So you see, again, IT focuses on performance and reliability, while in the business side, we try to validate whether the systems are being able to support operations effectively. Let me rephrase this. So, in short, we are trying to have control over our operations by having secure, predictable, and flexible service delivery. Meanwhile, we also want to control costs by leveraging the cloud services or any other technologies that we have in place. Okay, let's dive into the LLM ops and perhaps discuss some of the key features. Before I do that, I go back to MLOps first. So in MLOps, what we're doing is we are aligning people, processes, and platforms across the organization. In other words, we're trying to link IT to the data science. And you probably ask, what is the goal here? So the goal is to continuously deliver business value through machine learning. So for many organizations, it's important to build strategies that streamline people and processes to fit the MLOps platform they've chosen. And technically, MLOps is trying to bring them the DevOps principles to their ML workflow. So we probably see that we use CI to automate training and model testing, and CD to automate deployment of production-ready models. And no need to mention that monitoring and retraining models when performance drops is also as important. So the key here is to make the process repeatable and consistent, making sure that it is understood by everyone and it can be replicated by people across the organization. And ultimately, this makes the verification process much easier. LLM ops, in fact, is an extension of the principles of MLOps that is tailored specifically for managing the complexity and scale of large language models. And I have to tell you that both of these frameworks aim to bring efficiency, automation, and also consistency to deployment and management of AI models, ensuring that they provide maximum business value. Let's talk briefly about the paradigm shift that we see from traditional MLOps to LLM ops. And I guess this evolution of MLOps to LLM ops is something we see that organizations are struggling with. Perhaps building and managing an LLM app today can feel like a bespoke process because most of the times what we are doing is we are combining models and open source frameworks, and even we try to manually connect different data sources. And for many companies, this is not as scalable. And honestly, we see most of them are looking for guidance on how their existing MLOps can be augmented to cover these new workflows. If we try to explore the shift here from traditional MLOps to LLM ops, you see that traditional MLOps is trying to target ML engineers and data scientists, and it is focusing more on building models from scratch, and they have accuracy as a key metric. But we see in LLM ops that also include app developers, and LLM ops shares advanced assets like large language models, agents, plugins, prompts, chains, and even APIs. You see here that evaluation metrics in LLM ops are more comprehensive. For example, you see quality, harm, correctness, cost, and even latency. And the other one that I have to mention is you also see in LLM ops, they have model as a service in which you see pre-built fine-tuned models that are served as APIs. And of course, this way we can enhance efficiency and application integration. Let's see how the lifecycle of large language models moves from one phase to another. So let's assume we have 8 phases here. So we start with phase 1, obviously. As you probably see, this is about choosing the right foundational model, such as OpenAI models, Llama 2, for instance, or Falcon. And then we might need to fine-tune it if necessary. And then we go to the next phase, or phase 2. So in this phase, we continue with data and services enrichment, where we have LLMs are being enhanced with domain-specific grounding data, or sometimes we see we need to do in-context learning for specific use cases. Once we finished with step 2 or phase 2, we move to step 3, which is prompt engineering. So we're employing prompt engineering to fine-tune the model's tasks, and sometimes we do this for addressing security concerns. So once we're done with this, we go to step 4. So in this step, we see the model undergoes an experimentation phase where prompts and sample input data are used to evaluate responses against ground truths or even context-relevant criteria, right? Once we finish this, we move to stage 5. And like any other solution development, the lifecycle also includes continuous integration and deployment, or CI/CD, as you know. So we use the CI/CD practices to make sure we have full control on quality and performance in different environments. So we got up to stage 6 now, so where we have the packaging phase. So in the packaging phase, the deployment and inferencing phase tries to package the LLM flow for scalable deployment. And a lot of time we're using blue-green deployment strategies and also A/B testing. And we do this to optimize traffic routing and also model effectiveness. So now we are at stage 7, where we basically monitor performance. So in this performance monitoring phase, we are tracking metrics and communicating the model's performance to relevant stakeholders, right? And then we almost finished, so we get into the last step, or step 8, which is the online evaluation, where the LLM's performance and potential risks are being assessed, obviously using different evaluation mechanisms. I'm not going to get into that, but I will tell you the main message here. If I want to tell you what we're learning here is LLM Ops Lifecycle is actually there to provide a comprehensive framework for a development, evaluation, integration, deployment, and monitoring of built models. Wanted to tell you a little bit more about Promptflow in LLM Ops. I probably give you a minute or two so you'll be able to look at the contents of this slide a little bit more carefully. So you might be asking, what's the definition of prompt flow? So prompt flow refers to the process of designing, managing, and optimizing the prompts or input queries at Vinoa that is used to interact with large language models. Like, you might have different LLMs like GPT-4, for instance. So you probably see a relatively complex flowchart here, but I tried to simplify it for you. So let's assume that we have 5 steps when it comes to prompt flow, and the first step is creating the prompts. So in this phase or stage, we craft questions or commands given to the large language models to get the desired response, right? For instance, you want to generate a story and you may use a prompt like, tell me a story about a brave soldier. The second stage is the testing the prompts. So what you do there is you're testing the prompts to see how the model responds, and you check if the response are accurate, relevant, and meet your expectations. Once you've done that, you get to the third stage, which basically is about optimizing the prompts. So what you're doing there is you're refining prompts based on test results to improve the responses. And you may need to adjust it. And this adjustment might include making the prompts clearer, or adding more context, or even changing the wording. And once you optimize the prompt, you need to automate it. And in a production setting, automate the process of generating and managing prompts can be relatively complex, but it's still necessary for handling a large volume of requests or even integrating the model into an application. So now you created the prompt, you tested the prompt, you optimized it, you automated it. Now you monitor and adjust it. So what you do there is you continuously monitor how the model responds to prompts in real time, and then you adjust the prompts accordingly if performance drops, or perhaps if user needs some changes. So you see, it's It's very similar to what we just discussed in the LLM Lifecycle. This is more focusing on creating the right prompts for your large language models.
Just wanted to wrap this up quite quickly. So LLMOps concept is still relatively new and is still evolving. So you should expect that some of the steps that I mentioned here changes in the future. In the future videos, what I try to do, I will try to include more information about the technologies that we have available now and how we can map those technologies to the steps that I mentioned in this video. Hopefully you guys be able to learn something new, and please use the comment section if you have any questions or comments or even feedback. That would be well appreciated. Thanks a lot, guys.